me the real frame, because I could go to a local church, I could go to a local Freemasonic hall, I could go to a local bar, and really, each organization, has different purposes. Like the lodge and the church is really about personal development. The bar is really about entertainment. Clubhouse, for the most part, is all about, entertainment. There's no education. People claim, oh, I come here to learn. I've learned so much here, and I'm so thankful to all the people here that I've learned from over the years. And these people are the worst amongst us because they don't actually read anything. They don't. Yeah, they're the worst.
That's pretty funny, man. I hear a lot of that, man. I do. I really I hear a lot of that.
I mean, I agree. It's mostly entertaining. I've learned a thing or two. Really, mostly, I'm thankful for like the people I've got to meet. Like, I've spoken to like random people from. Like,
are you fucking dumb? He just got done saying that, and then you walk into a fucking the cartoon that steps on a fucking rake, and it's in the pole smacks him in the fucking face, dude. Like,
I talked to people
was you listening to him? He just got done saying that, dude. Hey, what are you doing? Well, I'm so thankful I met all the people on here.
No, some people. I'm talking about people I would have never spoken to in my regular life. I've talked to people from like fucking Vietnam that have like the weirdest life, like completely different than. And these are people I would have never talked to in my life ever. So like, I think that's pretty cool. Yeah, I'm not saying I'm fucking like this is my education. Yeah, the people that say they're here to learn all the time. I've learned a thing or two maybe on Clubhouse. Besides that, it's mostly entertainment and then a little bit of meeting some interesting people you would have never met otherwise.
Well, I've like created a lot of websites that have made, small amount of money, not a lot of money. It's really just a question of like experience, objectives, what do you really want to achieve? But this app is like a casino. If you go to a casino and you sit down in front of a slot machine, it costs you money to get the dopamine creation from that machine. It's just your cell phone blown up in front of you. It's a big screen and you're putting money in. Logically, you're not going to get a positive ROI. You're going to get a negative ROI on every dollar you put in. That, everybody knows that, but yet they still sit there and play a video game and lose hundreds of dollars because that software and the lighting and everything works in unison to essentially manipulate you and hypnotize you to keep reaching in your pocket for another $100 bill. And so Clubhouse is technically the same thing as a casino slot machine. And thus, you have to really realize that it is a form of hypnosis and manipulation, but it's not costing you anything. And that's the big...
you put in time instead of money.
Exactly. But philosophically, the one thing to really understand is that time is just a concept. And so it's what really is your opportunity cost or your choice. This app restricts your other choices of things to do. Like right now, I could be outside working in the garden. I could be at the gym working out. I could be in my living room reading a book. I could be downstairs doing this. I could be at the grocery store. There's so many things to do and choose to do other than to come here to engage in a communication. And that's why I say books are really the software programs of your life. And you can use this app to project those books. And the dialectic experience, the dialectic therapy, the dialectic intelligence that comes from retransmitting a book into the interwebs is an experience that most people have never had. I try to do it every day. And last night, I heard one man on this app reading from the Vedas or some kind of Hindu spiritual book. And I was like, one man reading a book at midnight. By himself, no one on the stage, no one even listening but me. And I said, well done, good job. Like, it's boring work reading a book by yourself, but the experience is actually very joyful. And the next day, you don't even think about or really remember what you read, but it's still there sitting in your subconscious. And if you recorded the experience, it's like confirmation that it's inside of you now. And that's the cool thing about reading is it's still sitting there inside of your personality after you consume it because the brain had to actually create the neuron tubes in your fucking brain to do the comprehension work of what you're reading. So I just like recording it because I can go back and listen to it and relive the dopamine experience. And so I told, I think, what's his name, Mikhail here, just read a book for 2 hours and then come back to Clubhouse and play your audiobook of you reading a book for 2 hours. I'll listen to that, but I don't want to listen to you every day going on and on and on and on and on. No syllabus, no guide. Like there's no summary. There's nothing. It's a horrible experience from the user perspective of listening to a cynic Mikhail for 8 hours. You see what I'm saying? It's so scrambled that as the user, you don't really get anything from that person. So that's why an audiobook is of incredible value to information, intelligence exchange, comprehension, etc.
There's a 24/7 like Ron readings on it.
I'm wondering at this point if you ever have anything original to say, John, or if it's just you constantly on loop for advertising your inferiority complex on YouTube.
I know, yeah, because I couldn't agree with all this stuff. And just saying blind reading, like this is what I said earlier. Like you can reading the smut novel does nothing.
Well, he doesn't even do it. Like I gave him something to read earlier. He had his AI summarize it for him and didn't understand a word it said, shrugged his shoulders, and went back to self-aggrandizing. Right? It's the most silliest thing I've ever seen.
That's why it's so funny. It's so silly.
Yeah, it is funny because you do say kind of funny stuff every now and then. One little interesting thing, but if you do listen to you long enough, it starts going in a loop. Have you noticed that?
Yup.
Yeah, I agree with you, and that's why I like to read books because I find I just infinitely loop about reading books, but I'm not reading the books. So you ever notice that how you actually don't read any books on here, but you just infinitely loop yourself, but never stop infinitely looping by reading a book?
Yeah, I'm too busy writing them.
Yeah. Well, what's interesting is when you read a book, it's the same thing as writing a book. It's almost as if you wrote the book when you read the book because you're experiencing the book and life is an experience. That's the great thing about books. And if you just write books but don't read books, and you use AI to write the books and you publish the books and you make money, well, that's great. But by making the money, what you're trying to do is actually generate more leisure time. That's the thing is that most people don't realize is we are ingrained with a neurotic, compulsive work ethic, but the elites, not the gay liberal intellectual elites, but the real elites like Elon Musk, when you have that much money, you stop working and you focus on leisurely activity and artwork and other fields of fun and play and joy. You're not forced to compulsively work to survive anymore. So what I am suggesting, gentlemen, is that if you should ever perhaps have the chance to be financially well off, well, then you will seek a life of leisure and philosophy and poetry and fun. Hello.
Somebody's running out of things to say.
I just saw an interesting video on this topic where they was like, what did ancient humans do when they were bored? And they actually had a lot more free time than we think. Like, I was thinking like, hey, they had to dedicate their whole day to survival things, but anthropologists said they may spend maybe 3 to 4 hours in terms of survival stuff, but the rest of the day they're just doodling on rocks and stuff like that. It was kind of interesting.
Probably depends how far you go back. Yeah, once we go back and forth, 50,000 years ago.
See, What's interesting about that, Alvin, is you don't know. You just get the verbal audio component of a human being on this conference call, but you don't know that person's financial situation, their housing situation, their vehicle, their clothing, their food, their relationships, their plumbing, their electrical and their lighting, their book collection, or how they spend their time, or who they are, or what their resume is, or what their LinkedIn is, or what their fake book is. You don't really know anything about anybody on this app because nobody's actually, fully public. It's only a very small percentage of people on this app that are fully public. And even if you're fully public, if you don't have anything published or posted, well, then you can't really express yourself and tell people who you are. And so guess where that leaves us? It leaves us with propaganda creation. And that's really what a lot of people are doing on this app. And AOC does it. AOC is the best example of propaganda maximization and ruthless optimization, because she really is going to throw her hat in for the presidency. At this point, there's no reason not to. It raises your credibility and your social media standing. And she already has so many followers. I dated a girl who, in my opinion, was so addicted to AOC that even her mannerisms were reflective of AOC's mannerisms. That's how much content she consumes from AOC. When she watches AOC do her cutesy little live streams about the work that she did for that day. And, when we have leaders who essentially create propaganda and they're congressional representatives, and we compare that to, say, like a military, army, or Air Force colonel who doesn't actually put anything on social media out of fear of retaliation, we have a power paradigm which is unstoppable in a way. And so we have created really like an elitist social media, intellectual, Democrat, liberal, industrial complex of content propagation, creation, where every major leader in the Democrat industrial complex, all they do every single day is announce a new holiday for that day or a new week festival celebration of this or that. It is there's no prioritization. They don't care about your property taxes. They don't care about the fact that.
Would you agree though? Like the whole point. What's going on, Dino? What's up, man? Good. Yeah, but Alistair, isn't that the whole point of being a politician? Like, isn't propaganda one of the tools? Like, it's like kind of showing up. When you show up, you don't bring a knife to a gunfight, right? So if everybody is using propaganda, it's kind of like you got to fight fire with fire. So I think it's inherent that if you want to be a successful politician, you're going to engage in spin and you're going to engage in some kind of propaganda. I can't think of any politician that hasn't done it a little bit. You know what I'm saying?
Okay, but Alvin, you're missing the irony here, which is that John is doing it right now. The very thing that he's describing. He's desperate, like absolutely fearful of not being able to participate in. Right? That's the irony of what's going on right now that just went completely over your head.
It did.
Absolutely.
Well, it's not necessarily a projection, and I'm not fearful that I can't participate in the game. What I'm trying to say is there are double standards and triple hypocritical standards within the platforms that females take advantage of.
What are you doing right now?
I'm in a room called Open Discussion in a house called Belief, put on by Regal. We can talk over each other if you want. I'm more than happy to talk at the same time as you, because earlier you accused me that you talk over me and that I talk over you, and we're doing that thing again where neither of us will give it up, and so we just keep talking.
That's all it is. It's probably just performance for YouTube. It's boring.
Nobody likes it, but here I am. Keep doing it. It's no longer me doing this.
Yeah, John, I think you'd have a lot more success if you assume the position that you're assuming in your profile picture. So why don't you go and try and suck your fucking dick on some fucking cam site, and maybe you'll get people to watch you jerk off.
It's a good idea, actually. Yeah, I mean,
Well, you come on here and you stop. I'll be ready.
oh, go. Please proceed, Dr. Nero. Enlighten me with your criticisms, sir.
All right, so
Because every good artist essentially is open to critics. Without a critic, you can't have an artist. And without an artist, you can't have a critic. And here he keeps muting me as I'm trying to distinguish between critic and artist. What kind of a man keeps hitting the mute button while another man keeps unmuting? Mute and unmute. Mute and unmute. What kind of a sick game is this of people who keep muting me? Eventually I should be kicked to the goo, I'm sure. If I keep unmuting and you keep muting me, well then Daniel can never perform his function as a critic. To John Kitover's artwork, John the artist versus Nero the critic. I am complete.
I have a real question, John. Like, have you ever tried or thought of like maybe upping the stakes to maybe try to attract an audience? Like, what if you did crazier things every now and then? I don't know, burn a house down. Like, I don't know, start doing porn. I don't know, do something. Live stream.
So what you're saying is you are suggesting that I modify my environment instead of just record my environment? See, this is your delusional, this is your projection onto me. This is your own sickness projected onto me, telling me to B word and H word. What kind of ridiculous thing is that to say to somebody? I really encourage you to read a book. And I encourage Daniel Nero especially to come on here and try to read a book sometime. I haven't heard Daniel read a book on here for a very long time. I think I am the last man in this room right now who's actually read a book.
Right in front of me.
Oh, okay. Go ahead and read us one page. Do it.
So this book is called The Dominant Theory of the Origin of the Universe. I obviously don't believe this, but I just want to see what arguments are in there. The Big Bang Theory of Cosmology. The idea that the universe originated a single cataclysmic explosion about 10 or 20 billion years ago is published in 1991 by me. 10 or 20 billion years ago has become central to not only modern astronomy but all current theories of basic structure of matter and energy as well. It has inflamed the popular imagination. With its implication, scientists have almost arrived at a single set of equations that explain all natural phenomena. Sorry, shit. I'm in a library, guys. But anyways, yeah, so I'll even show you. These are the books that I have. I'm just browsing through right now. PTR them if you want. Oh, actually, they are in my PTR. So I was just showing you guys the book on the left.
Well, that's close to reading a book, but that's not quite reading a book. Reading a book requires one sentence after the next. And so I'm just wondering, can anyone here actually read a book anymore? Or can people just take pictures and talk about reading books? Can we maybe turn this open discussion into a book club? Hello?
While you're freaking yapping.
Again, I gave you reading material. You handed it off to the AI to do your thinking for you. I'm unimpressed.
I actually have a couple gay friends that often tell me, I'm not impressed, John. And then they say, I'm still not impressed. And I go, well, I'm not impressed that you like sucking dick and taking a dick up your ass or putting your dick in another ass.
It's weird that you brought up sex.
I'm just saying you reminded me of a gay friend who told me that he wasn't impressed. And so, I said, and then he said, I'm still not impressed. Kind of like what you're doing right now. I'm just wondering if you're an elite liberal, gay, homosexual Democrat, and I mean elite liberal, intellectual, gay, homosexual Democrat, and if you're a Black American on top of it, that seems to be the most sacred thing in reality today, is a gay, liberal, intellectual, Black, African-American Democrat. That deserves all of our focus and concentration, all of our resources, all of our attention, all of our concern.
15 minutes ago.
All right. Well, look at the title here. I'm just trying to, stay on topic. Rabbona Shalom, welcome back to John Kitover is at it again here on Clubhouse in the Belief Room, where we're talking about John Kitover, because obviously everything else is boring except for the guy who knows how to have all the fun. The guy who knows how to have all the fun is talking to you right now. And I just want to give you, the listener, the participant who's experiencing the John Kitover experience, I want to just give you a little sample of what other rooms on Clubhouse are doing right now. Here we go.
The girls call you dude.
No, thanks.
And then you guys.
Yeah, bro. That was gnarly nerve that you got, bro.
This is in page.
Thank you,
Dude,
thank you, Sora.
what
That's
movie is that
mayhem. That's my kid.
Where's my car?
Oh yeah.
Other conflicts with observations have emerged as well. Dark matter, a hypothetical and unobserved form of matter, is an essential component of the current Big Bang theory. An invisible glue that holds it all together. Look at this. Yet Finnish and American astronomers, analyzing recent observations, have shown that the mysterious